Dominic Cummings, the Prime Minister's most powerful advisor who drafted lockdown rules and has since been accused of breaking those very rules.
Sorry I'm late.
That was the only time Cummings apologised here in the Downing Street garden during one of the strangest press conferences ever.
Yesterday I gave a full account to the Prime Minister of my actions between the 27th of March and the 14th of April, what I thought and did. And he's asked me to repeat that account directly to you. I want to clear up the confusions and misunderstandings that I can.
So why, when his wife, Mary Wakefield, had coronavirus symptoms on the 27th of March, did he break the rule to stay at home and drive 260 miles with his wife and 4-year-old son to a cottage on his parents' farm?
I was subject to threats of violence. People came to my house shouting threats. There were posts on social media encouraging attacks. There were many media reports on TV showing pictures of my house. I was also worried that given the severity of this emergency, this situation would get worse. And I was worried about the possibility of leaving my wife and child at home all day and often into the night while I worked in number 10.
But even after he isolated on the Durham farm, he admits he made a 30-mile drive to Barnard Castle, breaking yet another lockdown rule. Because he said he had to test whether he was fit enough to drive all the way to London.
We drove for roughly half an hour and ended up on the outskirts of Barnard Castle town. We did not visit the castle, we did not walk around the town. We parked by a river. My wife and I discussed the situation. We agreed that I could drive safely, we should turn around and go home. I felt a bit sick. We walked about 10 to 15 metres from the car to the riverbank nearby. We sat there for about 15 minutes. We had no interactions with anybody. I felt better. We returned to the car. An elderly gentleman walking nearby appeared to recognise me. My wife wished him happy Easter from a distance, but we had no other interaction.
Millions of people haven't seen their parents for months now. Can you just tell us a bit more about the nature of your contact with your parents?
My parents are in their 70s. Obviously, I did not want to give them this disease, and so we stayed very far away. We did have some conversations, but they were, we were on a farm, and there were shouted conversations at a distance. They weren't some of the things that have been reported.
Your own scientists are worried, they said this last night, that by introducing an element of personal discretion into the interpretation of the rules, you are putting lives at risk. What would you say to them, and what would you say to us to reassure us?
I'm not seeking to introduce anything or any element of discretion, but with great respect to them, they made those comments without knowing what had actually happened. And actually that's one of the reasons why I think now it would have been better to have made this statement earlier.
But with even Tory MPs calling for him to go, has he thought about resigning?
No, I have not offered to resign.
Did you ever consider it?
No, I did not. I have not considered it. As I said, I think I think it's reasonable to say that other people would have behaved differently in different ways in this whole situation. But as I stress, I was trying to balance lots of competing things.
He's certainly right that many feel he should have stayed home, to coin his own phrase, to protect the NHS and save lives. And he now faces anxious hours waiting to see whether his highly unusual confession will keep him as the most powerful political figure in the UK, bar the PM, of course. Robert Peston, ITV News.